All right, welcome back to the Hold My Helmet Football Podcast. I'm your host, Will Reichling.
And I'm your co-host, Dylan Boyle.
What's going on, Dylan? What's going on? Almost halfway through the season. Almost there.
Almost. Time flies so quick, man. I feel like it was just week one, and we were,
at main event.
Excited.
Main event in Farmingdale, watching Ravens Chiefs. Actually, you weren't there. I forgot you bailed on me
that
day.
I was sick that day.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I wish I would have been there.
You were getting oddly sick for a little while, for a couple months in a row.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
dying.
Maybe you have polio. No,
maybe.
I'm just kidding.
Right?
But I'm just gonna start with this. I'm done. I will not talk about the New York Jets anymore. They suck. They're a bad team. There's nothing interesting about them anymore. I'm done.
I get it, but like they are the one team you have to talk about. Mm-hmm. There's just so much. I feel like there's just the Jets are like the most team that to look out for. Just the crazy things they're doing right now.
It's almost like the Cowboys.
We're getting Aaron Rodgers. We're getting all these players. We're getting Hackins. We're getting Adams. It's just like. It's like a circus.
Firing your coach.
It's really, a circus. Their team is like a circus.
And it's funny. They are pretty much the AFC version of the Dallas Cowboys. Speaking of a circus, Dallas Cowboys, getting off to a nice lead on the 49ers, 10-0, or was it 10-3, whatever. They got off to a good lead in the first quarter. Also, next thing you look up, 27-10. But, yeah, they came back a little bit, made it an interesting game. But I don't know. Did the 49ers, did they come back, or did the 49ers let the pedal off the gas a little bit? We saw this against the Ravens. Maybe Dak and this Cowboys team is the king of garbage time points. It seems like they get a lot of garbage time points this season. I don't know.
And that I don't take that as much. I mean, garbage time points really don't mean much to me. In all honesty, it's all about keeping the lead. But I want to talk about the 49ers here, and just this has been the theme for them all season. Like they get off to a hot start, and then they just let off the gas. And I don't know what to blame. Either the play calling not being conservative, not just changing the play call in general, or the defense just completely, falling behind and just letting them come back. Because this has been the theme for them. Multiple games, they've had a lead of 2 to 3 possessions, and then they just let it up. I mean, to the Rams, to the Cardinals.
2 divisional.
There's another team out there that I'm not thinking of, but this is just what they've been doing, and it's worrisome. I mean, this is a good team. I mean, they come out hot, but can they hold the lead?
Well, here's the thing. Brock Purdy, he's had a lot of really, really good games this season. But it seems like, he's missing Ayuk. Sometimes he's missing Debo.
They're missing
season.
a lot of people.
Yeah, they
every week.
They've been missing people every week. But it seems like when he's missing his entire cast, he's folded a little bit. He was good in this Dallas game. He was. And they just can't put teams away. The Rams game, they had more talent than the Rams. The roster is 10 times better than the Rams at the time. Without Cooper Kupp, it was 10 times better, and they let the comeback happen. They had the better roster over the Cardinals. Cardinals came back on them. It just seems like maybe it's not having McCaffrey. Maybe it's Kyle Shanahan getting too stuck in this play calling, because Kyle Shanahan tends to not make adjustments. Maybe it's a factor of everything. I don't know. Maybe this is the beginning of the end. I keep saying this for the Niners.
You do.
I think they could even make the NFC Championship game, maybe even make the Super Bowl again. But this is the beginning of the end, I think.
Well, can you please explain to me a little more in depth? Because this is a stacked roster. I mean, we look at Purdy, and we see his pass ability, and it's there. He makes the passes. He doesn't make dumb mistakes. I mean, there will be like 1 or 2 picks where it's like, okay. But for the majority of the part, there is more good than bad with Purdy. I mean, the roster's pretty stacked.
Well, you keep saying it's a stacked roster. Other than Fred Warner, name one player on the defense. Name one player.
Trent Williams?
He's the left tackle. Nick Bosa.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Bosa and Warner. That's really it. They don't really have a stacked team anymore.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there 1 or 2 injured players on defense?
I think so, yes.
I think that's not the key point.
They have good
here.
corners too. Look, it's not about that. I just don't think they have as stacked of a roster as previous season. And their top guys are getting older.
Offense, we can't argue offense. Maybe defense,
it's really defensively they're not the same team. Offensively, yes, you have the Avengers. Kittle's been great this season. Jordan Mason stepping in for McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Debo's up and down. He'll have a great game, pneumonia. Great game, pull ankle. Ayuk out for the season.
I wouldn't say downfall, because they still have a loaded team that's... Yeah, they might take a step back, reevaluate, get some more pieces, maybe on defense more some. But I feel like this is a team that's just going to be sticking around for a while. You have a young quarterback that's showing a lot of talent, a lot of promise. Obviously, even when he's missing all these key players, he's still putting up points. He's still, looking like a competitive quarterback. But I feel like this is a team that's, right up there with the Chiefs. I mean, they're going to be around for a while. I mean, CMC is a big part of this offense, but this whole season they haven't had them, and they've still been looking like a dominant team.
Have they been dominant? They're 4-4. They're not dominant. I don't think they're dominant.
Well, listen, I think it goes back to defense and them letting up the lead. That's a big part that they have to get corrected.
The biggest issue with me, Brock Purdy, he hovers around 8 to 12, 8 to 13 in the league. He could be a top quarterback sometimes, but sometimes he'll be slightly above average. He's a good quarterback. I think he's top 10 for sure. Now, the problem with Brock Purdy is when he's making $800,000 a year, dude, that's the best bang for your buck in the league. Once you're paying him Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow money, I don't know anymore. I don't know. He's on the he's on the third year of his 4-year deal. Why is everyone saying we have to pay him after the season? Why can't he play one more year on his contract? Oh, no, you got to pay him. He's not making any money. He's in a ton of commercials.
If we look at history and see what's happened with all these Trevor Lawrence, paid him. I don't know why they paid him. He wasn't playing good to begin with.
It's the thing of end of the third season. You got to pay these guys. Why?
Dak Prescott, why'd you pay him?
Tua, why'd you pay him? It's a lot this year like that. There was a lot.
It's just going proven. You shouldn't pay these guys until you absolutely either have to or
need to.
Until they really prove it.
Well,
here's the
thing. Trevor Lawrence, they paid him because they were like, oh, we'd rather pay him now than pay him $5 million more at the end of the season. I'd rather pay him that $5 million more per year.
I'm sorry, I have to throw it in there. Daniel Jones.
Yeah, well, Daniel Jones is making 40. Trevor Lawrence is making 55. It's a little
different. I don't mean
to
cut you off, but like that just popped in my head. It's like,
but Daniel Jones is making 40. Trevor Lawrence is making 55. So it's a little different.
Well, that goes back to my whole argument. It's like you it's controversial, so you should pay these guys early, but like only if you have to.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, it
goes hand in hand.
The Jaguars' theory was we pay him now. He has a star season. We won't be paying $5 million more a year at the end of the next season. I'd rather pay 60 instead of 55 per year just to know to know and feel good that I have a top 5 quarterback. Now you paid him $55 million a year and he's had probably the worst season of his career. Now you're sitting there like, what do? We're stuck with this. It's almost like, I don't want to say Deshaun Watson because it's not fully guaranteed, but like, you couldn't wait one more year? You couldn't just wait that last year? Why are we paying all these quarterbacks early? Why? They have years left in their contract.
If he's proven, then let him prove it for one more season. Why not?
Well, that's the thing. That hasn't been proven. But like,
I know. But I'm saying, if you're willing to pay him the big bucks, then why not give him another year? If you trust him that much to pay him, why not just give him one more year?
What's $5 more million per year? Seriously.
Unless you have a stubborn quarterback, and at that point you have a whole nother problem.
Well, here's the thing. We like to shit on Dak and everything, but Dak has proven that he can win games in the regular season. Yeah. Dak has proven more than Trevor Lawrence, so I got him more with Dak. But like, why did they wait the entire offseason, making us think that, we're going to let Dak play the final year of his contract with no talent, let him prove himself, and then they sign him right before the season. I don't know what that was about. I really don't understand.
That's a whole nother story. With Dak Prescott, I think he's a great quarterback, and I feel like there's just too much of a magnifying glass on this Dallas team. I mean, you look at Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, you don't see them getting crucified for paying him and him playing like complete garbage.
No one's talking about him.
Dak is playing 10 times better than Lawrence is, and Dak's over here getting crucified. He's getting basically crucified, and I get it. Dallas is the team of the United States. I mean, they're the team, But I feel like he could be much better on a different team. And I feel like there's too much conflict going on. We saw it in the offseason. We saw them going back and forth. You see the defense going at the offense. You see people cursing out their quarterback. Trevon Diggs cursing out Dak Prescott. Like, who does that?
Trevon Diggs cursing out the reporter. The reporter pretty much
that's a whole nother thing.
So the reporter called him out, pretty much say, hey, there was a play or two here and there. And he described the play had happened. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, you kind of slacked on that play. You kind of gave up on the play when you had a clear tackle. You couldn't finish the play off. And you didn't. And Trevon Diggs pretty much said, what are you talking about? You can't do nothing that I could do. You can't do nothing. Stay in your lane. Fuck out of here. You can't do what I do. Why are you talking?
That's crazy.
And the reporter said, hey, Trevon, we can talk more about that play if you like. We can talk more about it if you like. He goes, walking away to the locker room, says, we can talk about these nuts. Talk about these nuts.
Crazy, bro. That is crazy. Like, if I went into work tomorrow and said that to my boss, I wouldn't have a job.
Here's the thing. The reporters aren't their boss. But they're required to speak to them.
Okay. If I talk to one of my customers like that, I would be fired.
Now we're talking.
But this is a profession. You got to realize, you represent your team. When you talk to when you talk to reporters, you're talking for yourself, but you're talking for your whole team as well, and you have to take that into consideration, especially a team like this,
the Dallas Cowboys. Not for nothing, you're also representing your brand, the Trevon Diggs brand, for after you retire. Like, there's a lot at stake
for trading, you know,
a lot at stake here. I will say, I like the apology after him and the reporter had some fun. I think it was today where they squashed the beef, and they squashed it with D's nuts, DEES, D's nuts. It's I guess it's nuts.
It's a brand, yes. Nuts brand.
Yeah, and they high five. They said sorry. I respect it, but the whole point of this is I like that he apologized and all that. But this is who the Cowboys are. They make headlines, and they make the headlines for all the wrong reasons, Dylan.
They do. I mean, I'm thinking about all reports of the Cowboys. Like, what's one good thing? I hear all these bad things. Oh, CeeDee Lamb and Dak going at it. Their families going at it.
Trevon Diggs yelling at Dak in practice.
The amount of fights that I saw on training camp.
Jerry Jones shitting on Mike McCarthy on the radio.
Jerry Jones going on the radio, basically going at the radio host.
Say he's on drugs. Honestly, this is crazy.
What are you smoking?
If the Jets weren't the Jets right now, this would be the most dramatic team for sure.
Absolutely,
that's why the Jets are the AFC version of the Cowboys. Now, you actually brought up a good point. CeeDee Lamb going at Dak on the sideline. You know what? I know
he always does that.
You know,
it's always that.
I like that Dak's a team player, and I like how he takes it on the chin. Once in a while, I want to see Dak get in someone's face and be like, "This is my fucking team. You don't like it? Get out of here!" Like,
he's so nonchalant, and it's like he can't run his team. You gotta have your team has to have respect for you. At the end of the day, who are you playing for? You're playing for your quarterback. You're playing for your team. If your team doesn't think that your quarterback can get it done, they're not going to respect you. And it seems like that's what we have here.
It seems like these players don't respect Dak Prescott. You see Trevon Diggs going at him in practice. CeeDee Lamb kind of always chirping at him on the sideline. Now, he didn't do it this week. But sometimes I would like to see Dak go back. See Dak get a little angry. You saw it with Daniel Jones this weekend. Well, actually, it was Monday night. But you saw it with Daniel Jones this week. Finally, you see some fire in that guy. I was like, there you go. I've been waiting for that for 5 years. I'm waiting for that with Dak.
Because he knows his time is coming to an end, and he's got to prove something. I mean, the play that we're talking about is it might have been the stupidest play in history. I don't know if you want to blame the offensive line, the coaching staff. It was a stupid play. It didn't look good. You're lining up in. It was the 2-point conversion. You got three people on the line.
Oh, the Giants play.
Yeah, you got 3 people on the line. You got like 5 people out in the field. You throw a screen pass and nobody starts. They hike the ball, they pass it, nobody's blocking.
2 words.
Literally, the guys just run in and fucking deflect the ball. What are you doing?
2 words, and I think you know what I'm going to say.
Too cute. Okay, on our segment of Too Cutes, the New York Giants.
Daniel Jones on the screen on a 2-point conversion, and no one blocked.
Yeah.
I feel like
what are you doing?
The lineman's fault. I feel like the play would have worked if the lineman did their job.
If they ran the play a little differently, like Daniel Jones, like
it wasn't him on that play.
It wasn't him. It was just a play calling, like running him up the middle. He's better on the outside, running outside the pocket, doing the fake pass, and then.
The screen, too, with the lineman out wide, it was just like, yeah.
All right, I told myself I wasn't going to talk about the Giants this year.
Well, look.
This year.
That's a very good candidate for Too Cute. Now, I guess this would count as Too Cute, Dylan, in my eyes. Now, the Bears and Commanders, the Commanders, honestly, I think the better team won this game, even though the Hail Mary happened. I think Jaden Daniels was the best player in the field. Yes, Absolutely. The Bears got done late, but Caleb Williams, I think, was 10 for 24. He was awful in this game. Jaden Daniels really was the better quarterback. But the last play, the Hail Mary. First, they get that 13-yard play on the sideline to get themselves set up for the Hail Mary. Then
that play wouldn't have happened if that didn't happen.
Correct. Now, Tyrique Stevenson taunting the fans, doing the I can't hear you.
On a Hail Mary.
Turning around, be like, oh, shit.
The play is called, and they're already 20 yards down the field.
You're like, oh, shit. He runs over to the pile. Apparently, he was supposed to be in the back, posting the guy up in the back. No, he runs straight to the pile, deflects in the air. Not down, up. Deflects it up.
Not one person was behind there, in the end zone.
Noah Brown went like this.
He said...
Did I just win? Did I win, Coach?
Like literally, like that's crazy. You on a Hail Mary, you should have somebody back in the end zone to do exactly what you said.
Everyone was in front of the end zone. It was crazy.
There was nobody in the end zone. He was just sitting there.
So
it's like they were asking for trouble. And
no words.
No.
Go ahead.
Apparently, he came out later, apologizing, saying he let his team down. He let his players down. It was a dumb move. I get that. I mean, you kind of have to do that. But then you had the coach coming out saying, "Oh yeah, no, I respect what he did. He was a grown man. He came out. He said, okay, I did something." You got to come down on these type of players. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. If you mess up and you make like a big mistake, like not a mistake, you play around like that on the field on a big moment, you got to come down on your players. I mean, if this happened on another team like
Andy Reid,
I was about to say that.
Mike Tomlin,
they would be going at this player. He would. I mean, even Brian Dable. Like after that thing happened with Malik Neighbors, he going to the concert out of the concussion. The reporters asked him, "It's like, hey, are you worried about Malik Neighbors going to a concert after concussion protocol?" He's like, "That's an in-house thing. We're gonna take care of it in-house." I mean, you can tell that there was something going on. Like he was being disciplined, you know? And the following week, he didn't play. So that says it all. I mean, you have to have a coach that comes down on their players, you know?
And Eberflus looks like he's not that guy. Honestly, I think he's going to get fired after this season. He's a good defensive
There's no reason why.
He's a defensive head coach, and he let his defense blow the game at the end.
Defense, but the talent on offense, too. You went ahead and got a loaded roster, you know? You got DJ Moore, you got Keenan Allen, you got...
Komet, who's a rising tight end.
Komet, amazing tight end.
Swift has been pretty good, too.
And Swift, he's been going off as well.
Odunze, they
went ahead and picked up these players, and they're just not producing on offense.
Isn't Tyrique Stevenson the captain, too? Because didn't Eberflus say that's why he's a captain or something like that? Am I wrong? I gotta look this up. I don't know why. For some reason, this is going to take forever to load. So, I feel like Tyrique Stevenson, look, he was a second-round draft pick last year. He's been a starter since he's gotten into the league. They're not cutting him. They're not going. People are saying they're going to cut him. 31, all other 31 teams would be at his door picking him up. See, let me see. Tyrique Stevenson.
Well, the whole thing here is, they're definitely not getting rid of him because, I mean, they would have came down on him way harder. You would have seen it in the press conference. They're like, yeah, no, he's a good guy. I mean, he made a mistake, but all nonchalant about it. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. They gotta discipline their players. Otherwise, they're just going to do what they want.
No, I don't think... Okay, I was wrong. I don't think Stevenson's a captain. But, yes, I just think he... Look,
and that's exactly why he's not a captain.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be a learning lesson for him. And this is going to be shown in film forever and ever. Here's what you don't do in the Hail Mary. You don't do the Olay and go run up, hit the ball in the air. Everything was wrong about that play. Everything. Yeah. You want to know what else has been wrong in every single situation this season?
I know what you're going to say.
Starts with an A. It also starts with an R with his last name. Anthony Richardson. He got benched for Joe Flacco, man. He just has not been good this year. A 44.4 completion percentage. 4 touchdowns, 7 picks, 57 passer rating. Dude, it's 2024. In 2024, I think the average passer rating is like 63. 30 years ago, I think the average passer rating was 55. The fact that in today's NFL, he can't even get to a 50% completion percentage. That was bad 30 years ago. It's even worse now. That is unheard of. A 44 completion percentage. He's inaccurate. He is inaccurate. He was 10 for 32 against the Texans. He checked himself out of the game because he was too tired. What was that about? What was that about?
Like, at first glance, I'm like, okay, that's smart. You're tired. Take a break. And I'm like, wait. What quarterback actually takes himself? I was actually trying to think. I'm like, no quarterback. Like, that blew my mind.
It's unprecedented.
That blew my mind. I'm like, okay, buddy. Like, you got to get back in there. You gotta stick out the drive. But then at the same time, they're kind of just running this guy into the ground. I mean, I've said it before. Like, I think it was week 2 or week 3. He goes down with. It looked like a serious injury. Apparently, he was fine, but like he was injured. It was on a running play. The next play, what do they call? Another designated running play for him. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you trying to kill this guy?
I hear you. I think what it is that they don't trust him to throw the ball. So the only way to win is to run him. It's just like, I don't think they trust him.
You have Jonathan Taylor, one of the best backs in the league.
Good point.
You gotta use him correctly. I feel like it's coming down more to coaching. I feel like
I don't know though, because Shane Steichen with Joe Flacco, Shane Steichen with Gardner Minshew, they both look tremendously better.
They're doing something wrong here.
They do. Here's the thing: they do everything right with every other quarterback. Gardner Minshew, Joe Flacco, they looked like a different offense. Anthony Richardson in there, they couldn't. They lost to the Jag. Well, actually, that was with Flacco. Sorry. Didn't they just barely beat the Patriots? Did they barely beat? Why am I forgetting that? But their offense has been... Oh, they barely beat the Dolphins, too. They brutal.
Haven't been good.
They've been brutal, honestly. And I like his talent.
Titans, too.
Oh, they barely beat the Titans.
3 points, yeah.
So, his ability as a tribute is, like, unheard of. I keep saying this. Week 1, that touchdown throw to Alec Pierce, that 70-yard throw off his back foot, that might have been the best throw I've ever seen in my life. It really... we know this guy's ability. I don't think his career is over just yet, but this is a hard reset for him. He's got to look in the mirror and be like, what am I doing wrong? He needs to develop as a passer. You saw this with Lamar Jackson when he entered the league. You saw it with Josh Allen. Inaccurate, not great from the pocket. What did they do? They worked on it. They improved. They didn't check out of the game. Sorry, I'm not trying to. That was one situation. I heard he's a good kid. I heard he's likable. He's very coachable. So, I think he can bounce back.
I think he's going to be just fine. Obviously, there's a lot of concerns going on. I mean, he's not playing good football. Let's just put it straight. He's not playing good football. But there's too much good with him to count him out. I mean, his arm, his running ability, his size. You can't count this out. I mean, I'm sure there would be people or teams that'll take 2 or 3 more shots on him.
Oh yeah, just because of the ability alone, absolutely.
It's like I could fix him. You know that one
that's like that Trevor Lawrence.
You know that one meme? It's like, oh, I could fix her. I could fix her. That's like with Anthony Richardson. I could fix him. Why not?
Because you see the ability.
He has the ability. He has all the talent there. It's just not put together.
See, it's funny because there was a lot of quarterbacks like that. Anthony Richardson. I think Trevor Lawrence kind of falls into that where people are like, I could fix him, and there were. This quarterback that I'm about to talk about, a lot of teams are like that too. I can fix him, which is why he's going to get passed around the league by a lot of good offensive coaches. Sam Darnold, look, I still think that the other shoe's going to fall eventually. I still think he could be turnover prone at times. But Kyle Shanahan liked him, Kevin McConnell liked him. The right people like this guy. And he went against the Rams. He played pretty well. But I think the story of that game, though, was Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua coming back. Once you give Puka picked it up right where he left off. You have him in fantasy. I'm sure you were happy. You benched him.
No, I benched him. I mean, they were putting him on.
He just came back.
They were putting him on pitch count,
and then it turned out to not even be a pitch count.
No, literally the first play was to him. I'm like,
thanks
guys.
Look, once you give Matt Stafford talent receiver, he goes off. Let's don't forget Calvin Johnson on the Lions had a career year, set the NFL record for receiving yards, 1,900 something yards. Matt Stafford was his quarterback. A couple of years ago, Cooper Kupp almost broke that record, 1,900 yards. Matt Stafford was his quarterback. Puka Nacua setting rookie records last year for receptions, receptions and yards, rookie records. Matt Stafford was his quarterback. This seems to be a recurring theme. Matt Stafford makes elite receivers. I know Calvin Johnson was one of a kind, but Matt Stafford's good.
I mean, even with when Kupp was out last year, I mean, Tutu Atwell was looking really good too. I mean, that was like a nice little 1-2, Puka and Tutu.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy because Stafford's still showing all that talent. I feel like this is the perfect trade between the Lions and the Rams.
They've both won.
Because now you have the Detroit Lions that are looking like
the best team,
the best team in the league. And then as soon as they got Stafford, they won a Super Bowl.
Yes, so it really
everybody won in this situation.
Absolutely, but honestly, we probably both thought the Rams were going to easily win this.
Well, listen, I think I want to go back on you because. When we were missing Puka, when we were missing Puka and Cooper, you're just like, no, you're counting out the Rams. You're like, all right, no, their season's over.
The comeback win.
You were talking about rebuilds.
The comeback win against the Niners was huge, and they also beat who did they beat? Oh, they beat the who did they beat a few weeks ago? Where it was a convincing win. Was it Seattle? I don't think it was Seattle. Yeah, pull up the schedule. Huge comeback against the Niners. That was the key though. They had the lesser roster. They didn't have Puka. They didn't have Cooper Kupp, and they came back against the Niners. That was huge for Stafford. That was huge for this team.
It was.
They beat someone else a few weeks ago. I don't know why I'm forgetting.
They had it close with the Rams. They lost to the Bears. They beat the Niners. They lost to the Cardinals.
They got blown out by the Cardinals. You're going too far back. Other way.
This game was the Rams. I mean the Vikings, and then before was the Raiders.
Yeah, they beat the Raiders, but okay, so they beat
that's not too impressive.
That's fine.
Okay.
But the huge one was
they played the Rams close.
You keep saying Rams. They are the Rams.
Because I'm looking at it. So they kept the Packers close to a 5-point
They did,
game.
though.
Yes.
That was impressive, too, because
Yes.
Stafford didn't have either of his guys, and they almost beat them, too. So
Kyron Williams, special player.
He is. And honestly, it shows when Stafford gets some talent, he's elite. Darnold, I think, needs everything around him to be even close to good. Now, can we please stop with Sam Darnold MVP? Can we stop with that? Because he's definitely been playing great. Don't get me wrong. He's been playing out of his mind. He has. honest about that.
I mean, the first 5 games, how can you not put him in that category?
Because
he was playing out of his mind.
But he's getting elevated by an elite offense and an elite play caller. Once his left tackle goes out, he's not the same guy anymore. Taking sacks, Justin Jefferson making circus catches down the field, guys running wide open on plays. Those first 2 touchdowns, I could have thrown that. You could have thrown that. Like, come on. He's not going to carry you and put the team on his back when you need it the most.
5-0.
Now he's 5-2. About to be 5-3. So
okay, but I mean that was very necessary. I mean they were playing the best teams in the league and winning. How can you not put him up there as MVP?
Well, now let's think about it. The Niners are the best team in the league. Houston looks like they've been struggling. So like let's put into perspective here. They beat the Giants. They beat the Jets. Yes,
good defense.
They controlled the Niners and dominated the Texans. I'll give you that. But they lost to the Rams. They lost to the Lions.
Great team. Best team in the league.
Hey, they're a playoff team. No doubt. But Sam Darnold is not an MVP candidate. I don't think he is.
Beat the Packers.
Well, yeah, but Jordan Love just came back, and they almost lost that game.
What does that mean? They're again one of those teams that is like almost one of the best teams.
Look, like I said, he's been playing out of his mind. He's had a great year. I'm not saying.
So how can you not say like that's MVP worthy? If he kept it going, what if he went undefeated? Would you say he's not MVP worthy then?
But he hasn't. He lost his last 2 games.
I know, but
you can't say that.
You got to think.
But only 2 teams have ever gone undefeated. So why would they think like that?
The New England Patriots
and the Dolphins in the 70s. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Let's go back to that New England Patriots. You know,
but
who ended up beating them? The New York Giants.
It always comes back to your...
I'm sorry, I had to throw
always comes back to your fucking Giants, man.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, look, maybe I'm a little bit of a hater because I'm being a Jets fan.
I think, it's the Jets, like, you know.
It's like, yeah. It probably is that.
But I don't think he would have ever worked out. Look,
no,
Aaron Rodgers isn't working out on the Jets. Bring Patrick Mahomes. He won't work out on the Jets.
If Mahomes is drafted to the Jets,
Tom Brady. He won't work on the Jets.
If Mahomes is drafted to the Jets, he probably wouldn't have worked out.
No.
Let's be honest about that.
I mean, Andy Reid, they kind of went hand in hand.
Yeah.
I mean, Andy Reid's a great coach, and he's a great quarterback, and it just worked out perfectly.
It's a match made in heaven. It really is.
Was.
Now, honestly, Darnold and O'Connell has been the match made in heaven so far. It really has. I'm very impressed with Darnold. He's got over 100 passer rating.
He's definitely going to be a starter from now. Like, there's teams out there like, I want this guy on my team.
If he plays like this the rest of the season, he's a starter. He's a starting quarterback in this league.
I say right now he's a starter in this league. Let's say he tanks the rest of I don't care. There's going to be a team out there that's telling me I've seen enough talent.
So we're 7 games in. You're telling me if he sucks the rest of the way, he's a starter?
Yeah.
But that's what Sam Darnold is. He starts off like Fitzpatrick, like a lot of backs in the league. A couple good games, they get exposed over 17 games, 18 weeks. So you're telling me half the season is enough for you?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I disagree. To say half, he's been in the league for 4 or 5 years, but 7 games now all of a sudden he's the guy. I find that hard to believe.
He's the guy. I mean, he's shown it.
He's a guy.
He's putting up 30-plus points every game.
Well, he didn't this week or the week before that, but
okay.
Has he put on 30 points this season? Actually, that's a good. Now I don't even know if he's done it once. Honestly.
All right, now we're definitely.
No, he did. The Packers. He put up 31. Yeah, he has.
Okay, let's see. Week 1.
That was a domination. The Giants.
28 points.
It's been a lot.
23 points. Week 3 gets Texans 34 points.
Mm-hmm.
Gets the Packers 31 points. Vikings 23 points.
The Jets, you mean?
Yeah, good point.
Vikings.
I did
it's funny how I knew that though.
Against the Lions 29 points. Against the Vikings 20 points. So they're averaging like 26 points a game.
Which is a top offense in the league. Yeah. No, look, there's nothing.
Retract your statement.
No, but he's not the MVP. Like he's not. No, carrying.
He's not the MVP.
He's not carrying.
No, I'm not saying he's the MVP.
He's four
all
right
I'm saying is there's an argument when they're 5-0, beating great teams.
Yes.
That why wouldn't you
at that point there was an argument. I agree.
Now, no, I'm not saying he's MVP.
There's 3 guys. I think he's 4 right now. There's 3 guys I would put over him: Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, Derrick Henry.
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff's been playing perfect.
But, like, I feel like you made a great... Like, you always make great points with him. I mean, like, he has a great offensive line. I don't think he's playing good football. He is.
Honestly...
Great football.
That actually plays into my point about Darnold. Does he get carried by a good team? No, you're right, though. You're right. Honestly, Derrick Henry has been the most deserving so far. Let's be honest.
Derrick Henry has, bro. I haven't seen a running back like this in so long.
No.
You haven't. Like, almost putting up 200 fucking... I'm sorry. 200... He gets me going. 200 rushing yards almost every game. Like, who does that?
Well...
He's a generational talent.
You want to know who's been like, honestly, this guy... I would have never told you a couple of years ago that he could be the candidate for the Defensive Player of the Year. That's Dexter Lawrence and the New York Giants. Look, there was a play. I know that was a tough loss, but there was a play that Dexter Lawrence made where he ran through two linemen and a running back.
So yeah, he was double teamed, and then you had a running back blocking.
Your D line is special. Your secondary needs work, but your D line is special. We all know Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones. But look, the Steelers, yeah, they have the better team. You kept it close. It was a tough loss. I think the story here is really Russell Wilson. He's been extremely steady in these 2 starts. And I've been a Russ hater. I really have. I think he made a ton of good throws in that game. And at the time, we were like, oh, this wasn't that good of a game. But when you went back and watched the highlights, he was really impressive. Look, the last 2 seasons in Denver, like 2022 and 2023, 7.3 yards per attempt and 6.9 yards per attempt in 2023. Mm-hmm. 2 out of his 3 lowest seasons was 2022 and 2023. His lowest yards per attempt was in 2023 when he threw 6.9.
Yeah.
It's only been 2 games. Through 2 games, 9.5 yards per attempt. He's pushing the issue down the field, being very aggressive, and it's paying off.
I don't want to be that guy that just, sucks off his own team, but the Giants and Jets are top 10 defenses. Could we agree upon that?
I actually make hot take. I think the Giants defense is top 10. The Jets isn't. Talent-wise, yes.
That's debatable. I mean, no, yeah, they have regressed this season.
Very.
Anyway, they're good defense.
Giants have the best D-line in the league, probably create the most pressure.
And Wilson has been looking like a star against these teams. It's funny because I thought he looked really good against the Jets, and then I was like, I didn't really pay attention to him against it. It's kind of like that bias, you don't even really pay attention to that. Same thing with you. You pushed off the
I
one
did.
against
I was like,
and then you said you looked great against the Giants.
Right.
But no, he's overall looking I don't want to say good old Russ because
it's in between. It's in between Denver Russ and Seattle Russ.
But he's looking 10 times better than he did on Denver.
And honestly, that's a question though. Was it Russ or did Russ not really fit Sean Payton's offense? Because you see, it's working. It's working well with Bo Nix, but Bo Nix gets the ball out. Look, this is what Sean Payton wants: get the ball out quick, more horizontal than vertical. Russ likes to see it roll out, throw the ball down the field. Payton doesn't like that. Sean Payton likes to get the ball out quick to his receivers in the flat. Russell Wilson's not that.
When you have a quarterback like that, you need an offense like that. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. How do you expect this guy to throw in traffic to people you don't even see? And you have to have vertical more going on.
That's the thing, though. I think this was a win-win for both guys. Russell Wilson's in an offense that suits him better with Arthur Smith. Great job by Arthur Smith, by the way.
Bo Nix is thriving on that team.
Yes. Now, Bo Nix has been a little up and down, but perfect with Sean Payton.
He is.
I think we have to give Arthur Smith.
He could kind of carve him into the player.
Mold him to anyone he wants in the league.
And do we think Sean Payton's going to be here for a while? Because I don't know. There was a lot of controversy going on.
They're 5-3. They're 5-3.
They are 5-3.
He's done a nice job so far.
I didn't think it was going to last at first.
He's done
I thought he was going to be out soon.
Honestly, when he gets his guys, look at that defense now. They actually have a very they're a year away from maybe being a contender, Dylan. They're 5-3. They're probably going to make a playoff push. And they're not even that good of a roster right now. Imagine when they have a good roster, some good offensive pieces.
I feel like Russ just isn't the guy you put pressure on. You just got to let him do his thing.
That's the thing.
Let Russ cook.
That was the whole.
That was the whole thing. Let him do his thing.
I think we have to give Arthur Smith a lot of credit. He's had 2 quarterbacks and he's been successful with both of them. We were so quick to shit on him on the Falcons, run him out of town, and remember that game against the Saints where they ran up the score and he was screaming at the guy in midfield. He was like, "Oh, you can't do that. That's bullshit, man." We shit on him, said he's a shitty head coach.
I'm sorry. Was that the game at the end where they just kept on running the score and they got mad?
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Now
that was great.
Shitty head coach. Don't get me wrong, but he could call offensive plays. He's shown it. 2 quarterbacks. He's done a good job. Good job by Arthur Smith. Good job for sure.
Good for him.
Another offensive coordinator who's really impressed me the last couple of weeks. Kellen Moore, the Eagles. Jalen Hurts. Look, we shitted on him for weeks. The last 20 games before this, he had 27 turnovers. The last 2 or 3 games, he's honed it in. He got his star receivers back. And all of a sudden, with Jalen Hurts not turning the ball over, running more, having his 2 receivers, throwing good deep balls, go routes, he looks like a different quarterback again. He's playing within himself, and he's playing very well, Jalen Hurts. I'm very impressed. He's not elite. He's not Mahomes. He's not Allen. He's not Burrow, Lamar, even Herbert.
It's like a Stafford.
I think he's high-end tier 2. I think he's high-end tier 2. Maybe he does need help. Maybe he does need A.J. Brown. Maybe he does need Devontae Smith. But that's okay, because a lot of quarterbacks do. And when he has them, he's pretty good.
I'm taking this game with a grain of salt regarding the Eagles. I mean, I haven't seen this enough yet. And when you have a loaded roster like this, they have the best 1-2 wide receiver group. They do. They have top 3 running back in the league. I mean, debatably top 2. I mean,
he's top 2. Him and Henry are pushing.
Exactly. Those are the 2 dominant ones. And I don't know. I feel like they should be doing this every week. I'm taking this with a grain of salt. You're versing the Bengals. That defense has been terrible this season.
Yes.
So I need to see more of this because I feel like they implode very quickly. One week they're playing really good. They're putting it back together. And the other week, not really.
It's been a couple weeks in a row, so and the defense has been better. The corners have been better. Like
the corners have been playing. I was very impressed with that one play where he batted down the ball to his own defender.
And Cooper DeJean on that fourth down, that great tackle he made, and Jamar Chase on the screen. Like they have some corners now. They do. Now, yes, they probably have the best receiving corps in the league. The other team that has probably the best, if not the second best, the Bengals. Now, you were telling me that T. Higgins he's on the trade block. Is that true?
I've heard that. I have heard
I wouldn't
the
be
Patriots
surprised.
being a trading spot for him.
Yikes.
Well, listen.
No,
I think the Patriots are coming around a corner. I think they are. If they found their quarterback, I mean, I feel like Mac Jones completely just like destroyed this team.
Mac Jones, he's a meme.
He's a meme at this point, and getting rid of Belichick was a big stepping stone for them.
It kind of gave everyone the chance to take a nice exhale. Like, that's over.
Yeah, Robert Kraft is probably happy. You know, you don't have him. You got a good next Tom Brady maybe.
Here's the thing: the Bengals dug themselves into too deep of a hole. They're 3-5. I think they're selling now. Like,
I mean,
the Steelers are 6-2. You got the Ravens. The Browns are playing better.
They're in a very tough division, but the conference is a little weak. So there's still a chance for them, but they're just not. Their defense is just gonna get destroyed.
Right. The offense is actually the offense in this specific game wasn't too great, but like for the most part, the offense has been very well. The defense has destroyed them.
That's been their theme the whole season. I mean, that Commanders game, they were balling out.
The Ravens game too, they were getting torched.
I just don't know what to make with this Bengals team. They can't do anything unless they improve this defense. You can't just keep on stacking this offense and expect defense
nothing
to just
on the
work.
defense. Exactly, right.
And you got to pay some guys.
Sometimes you think you have a good coordinator and they'll make up for everything else. And Lou Anarumo, like he's been great, but this year not so much. Now, like you said, this division, most seasons toughest in football. You got Ravens, Browns, Steelers at 6-2.
Browns are stepping up now.
Browns are stepping up. They beat.
We're gonna get into that.
No, right now we'll get into it. The Browns beating the Ravens. Look, I really think Deshaun Watson was the only sole problem with the Cleveland Browns. It was Deshaun Watson.
I mean, the evidence is in the pudding. I mean, we saw them like last year. I thought they were debatably maybe the best team with the right quarterback. I was thinking with Deshaun back with this team, they're unstoppable. They were unstoppable. Their defense, top defense in the league. I don't know what happened. I guess they've regressed a little bit. Their offense wasn't producing. But, I mean, you saw DTR they had. They were looking like a competitive team.
Flacco.
They had Flacco. They were looking like a Super Bowl team. Obviously, Flacco got a little bit exposed once it came down to it.
They couldn't bring him back, though, because of this reason. They knew Flacco. They would be calling Flacco's name in week 1, the fans. You know that. They were booing Watson getting Cardinal off the field.
And Jameis Winston, that's not really a big step up at all.
Let's remember.
But he balled out.
Jameis Winston on the Saints a few years ago was very good as Drew Brees' backup. Was like 5-2. They took him the turnovers. They honed it in. Look, Jameis in the Bucs was very high-end, high turnovers. I think he had 30 touchdowns one season, 5,000 yards, but 33 picks. So, like, this guy was a turnover machine, but he could also produce high-end plays. And you saw in this game, Kyle Hamilton dropping the game-winning pick, and then a couple plays later, throwing Cedric Tillman touchdown. So, like, Jameis Winston's all over the map.
Tillman's coming on.
He really is. With Cooper gone, now...
and now Jerry Jeudy's, like, fading as, like, a wide receiver 2 or 3.
Kind of weird.
It is.
He's one of the weird busts of the...
He's very much a bust.
Because he was a first-round pick on Denver, and like he never
he showed promise.
A couple of years. It never amounted to anything.
Exactly.
It's weird.
And can this Browns team make anything of this? Can they make anything of this season?
What are they, 2-6 right now?
They?
The AFC's open though.
The AFC is open. That's their only saving grace. But they have. I don't know. I feel like this game gave them a lot of momentum.
I knew Jameis would come in and immediately be better. I knew it. Kevin Stefanski, smart offensive head coach. Like with Flacco, looks like a different team. I do think they can make it competitive for themselves. Like they're not out of it.
They're not.
But I think they are 2-6, right?
They are 2-6. Yeah.
So it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be very tough. I mean, okay. Let me say, who's got more of a chance, the Bengals or the Browns? I mean, these are like two opposite teams. Like you got the Browns that have an elite defense. You got the Bengals who's defense is like Swiss cheese.
I would say the Bengals because I think the Bengals had a tough going in the first half of their schedule, but now I think it gets a lot easier. They played the Chiefs, the Eagles. They played the Ravens.
Yeah, and now they play the Raiders. They got divisional games. The Ravens. That's going to be
tough.
Home. Chargers.
That's winnable.
Steelers.
That's tough.
Cowboys.
They can win that.
Titans.
They're going to win that.
Browns.
Although they usually lose.
Although
they usually lose. Oh wait, this is the Browns schedule. Okay, I thought it was the Bengals schedule. No, they could do it. I think they're going to finish like 7, 10, 8, 9. They've dug themselves too deep of a hole, but they could make their offense already looked a lot better. But
yeah, I mean both these teams. I mean they can make a run for it just because the conference is so weak. But I don't think either of these teams win. I feel like you got other teams. I think the Texans are definitely making it. I think the Colts might make a run for it too.
With Flacco, maybe.
Yeah, they absolutely
I think
can.
Denver's going to be in the playoffs. I think the Chargers might be in the playoffs.
Chargers are definitely making it.
I would not rule out Denver.
I wouldn't rule out Denver too, and I'm kind of interested to see, how Bo Nix plays in the playoffs. That should be an interesting thing though to watch. That would be interesting. Denver versus Texans.
So the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos. Who would have thought all three out of the 4 teams in the AFC West would make the playoffs? Right? I didn't think the Denver Broncos or the Chargers would be good this season. Good coaches.
It's just
good
crazy
coaches.
how the script changes because. The AFC used to be so dominant. It's not. I've talked about it all season. Because
it's been a shit show.
It has been. And it just leaves there room for the Jets.
No. We're not. That's it. The show's over.
But it's crazy because, we would think, it's going to be really hard for the Jets. They got a tough conference. They got an easy road to the playoffs, and they're still not going to make it.
Right.
Which is kind of
embarrassing.
Very embarrassing.
2-6. Week 8 in the books. Our reactions in the books. Now, next week, you're going to hear our top 10 for week 9. Our mid-season top 10 because 9 out of 18 weeks.
Exciting.
That's exciting. Stay tuned because next video is going to be our week 9 picks. We both had decent weeks. I went 11-5. You went 12-4. We'll talk about it in the next video, though.
Yes.
So week 8 in the books.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, Dylan.
Here's
stay
to another
tuned.
Week.
Like, subscribe, share. Keep supporting us, and stay tuned for week 9 picks. Thank you. Take care, guys.
Let's go.